Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Sean,
Chris,
and Lee.
Welcome to the isolation room. 50% of the pod's got COVID now, so that's actually down 25% from last week.
yes.
Yeah, the one bit of TT memorabilia that nobody wanted.
But everybody appears to have picked up.
it is a thing. I
Tell
think
you what.
the TT variant, it is real.
Oh no, let's not have that. I'm convinced if somebody says TT variant to me in front of me, I'm just going to beat them to death. Like COVID's the last thing they have to worry about if they say that around me because it's fucking stupid.
I was joking, to be fair.
No, I know what you were doing, Sean.
poking the hornet's nest.
It's your Manx Radio colleagues, I feel, are in danger of their lives, perhaps. Maybe Lee should stop listening to Manx Radio.
Let's stop.
Well, Three Legs Towers actually filled in for Manx Radio Studio one day last week.
Yeah, I did my show from home on a day. Can't remember which one.
Thursday?
I think it was Thursday.
Now, this morning, were you in some kind of isolation studio by yourself?
Yes. So, because half the station has COVID, we've got one studio, which is the official COVID studio, and only the people with COVID are allowed in there, and no one without COVID is allowed in it.
There's a giant X painted in chalk on the door, and they call it the plague
You are
pit.
not exaggerating massively. It is a little bit concentration campy.
Just a fewer Nazis, I would hope.
We're back to Hungary again, aren't we?
Oh, no, we're not.
So, how did we all enjoy TT? We'll get that out of the way. We have got some TT videos and photos. We've just not had a chance to put them all together yet, mainly because COVID. And we didn't get to do that gig together.
No. I tested positive the day before that gig was supposed to happen, which you said was a super spreader event anyway, so...
Because half the band and half the crowd ended up with it, yes.
There you go. And I wasn't there, so I can't be blamed.
But other than getting ill, how did it go for everyone?
I got ill twice. Well, actually, in fairness, I've not been particularly ill with COVID, but I had a horror cold during practice week, which was horrific.
The one that I inadvertently gave
Yes, it was very unpleasant. So, yeah, I managed to think about 5 days of reasonable, non-contaminatory.
Well, we've got the video of lots of traffic jams while we're trying to do the TT course.
Yes.
Which, when it's safe for me and Chris to actually be in the same room at the same time, we will do the voiceover for. Otherwise, it's mainly going to be slagging off bad drivers and the Scorpions.
No, that sounds
slagging
good.
off the
Put that
Scorpions
version
was
out.
something
Put that
happened.
version out.
No, don't. We can't. There might be slanderous things on that audio.
So I suppose we better talk F1 because it's been a few weeks, hasn't it? Azerbaijan,
It's
right?
been some time.
Yeah, Azerbaijan. Yep, that happened.
Done. Over it. Next.
Over and finished. Right, Canada, eh?
They're also done.
Yeah, but that's more fresh in the mind. So I guess we have to discuss that. Obviously, at the height of the Canadian summer, so they had about 6 inches of rain in an hour, which made a change from 6 inches of snow in an hour, I guess.
Yeah, the weather was a bit changeable. It gave us a good race on Sunday, though, with the wet qualifying, I thought.
Yeah, nice mixed up grid.
Yeah, it worked quite well. Maybe Bernie's sprinkler idea for qualifying wasn't terrible.
No,
I was thinking about Bernie's sprinkler idea.
Made the track green, as they call it, for Sunday, and made things very interesting. But yeah,
It is probably what we need to do, isn't it? Like maybe not sprinklers. No, maybe not sprinklers, but the FIA and F1 think tank need to measure the grip levels that Formula One cars have in the wet, and then go, all right, how do we make this in the dry?
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Because that seems to be like when it rains, that seems to be the sweet spot. Because it's the drivers have to work more. The cars seem to be the lack of grips kind of equals everything out a little bit. I mean that might be the best qualifying session I've ever seen.
or just put some marbles on the track beforehand.
Yeah, probably stiffer tires would do it, wouldn't it? Like more plasticky, harder tires, that would generate a lot more slip rather than grip.
Yeah, I mean the reason that the track was so green by the time of the race was there was less support races this weekend as well, because normally by the Grand Prix we've had F2, F3, and the Porsche Super Cup with the inevitable delays to fix the Tech Pro.
To be fair, they did have that this week just with Ferraris rather than Porsches.
They don't crash as much. Well, except for the one that delayed FP3 and qualifying because somebody went into the Wall of Champions because they got ideas above the station.
Imagine driving a Ferrari and being like, I know what I'm to do. Crash into this wall that was named after 3 incidents 24 years ago.
23. It was 99.
23.
I thought it was 98, but it was 99. And we didn't see anything from the champion of walls this week.
It's because they put Tech Pro in front of it now.
Almost didn't have a safety car.
Almost. I'm kind of glad we did, because it made for a great sprint race.
It did, but I know at the time I was quite happy with it when I messaged you guys saying that Yuki Tsunoda kind of saved the end of the race. But
see, I disagree. But
yeah, I think it now looking back at it, I think it would have been a more entertaining end to watch Verstappen catch and try and pass Sainz.
Yeah, that's what I was looking forward to. And I think Verstappen said the same as well, didn't he? He much rather would have been doing the attacking than the defending.
Yeah.
But that was what. I mean, we got quite a few interesting battles a bit further back, didn't we? Unfortunately, it didn't work out for front row starter Fernando towards the end of the race. But the Mercedes appeared to find its better pace, should we say? They were clearly in third place, ahead of everyone else, but not quite on the pace of the leaders. And it was just a pretty decent. As we say, that probably would have been the place to do a sprint race, wouldn't it? In hindsight, and then hindsight is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I just wonder if they'll go for that next year, because now that they've shown they can get a fun, shorter race in there.
Yeah, particularly if they're not doing support series, it makes sense to have a bit more.
Yeah, and again, it does rubber up the track, so you do get more grip for the actual main event. Yeah,
so I would do sprint races everywhere or sprint races nowhere. But I think Canada certainly would have been an advert, or actually was an advert for a sprint race.
Yeah, and I think it's a track that lends itself to it as well, because it's both quick and technical. And there are occasionally places where you can pass.
There's a few places you can pass. We did see passing 2 places mainly, but yeah, I mean, it's a circuit you can overtake on.
Or 3 if you're George Russell. That send up the inside of the hairpin was both unexpected and bloody good.
Yeah, it was pretty good, wasn't it?
Both of them, yeah.
I think that's my only takeaway from the weekend was I would have liked to have seen what would have happened if Russell hadn't have tried the softs,
or if he'd
in
made
qualifying. But or if he could have made them work. But every lap in qualifying when Lewis went out consistently, Russell had a couple of tenths on him, which would have probably put him P3 instead of Carlos Sainz. That would have been interesting to watch.
Yeah, other interesting thing that came out of it was the this second floor stay to stop the Mercedes porpoising. Now it was a technical directive that was done. Mercedes put the second stay on, and then a lot of other teams said that pointed out that it was protestable because although it was a technical directive, it hadn't actually been written up in the technical regulations. So even though the FIA had said they could do it, the FIA hadn't said they could do it.
Yeah,
boring.
It's this obsession with.
So what we're saying here is the FIA rules are so complicated that the FIA does not understand them.
Yes,
I do remember them though a couple of years ago implementing a new thing which could allow them to do rapid changes to rules. I remember that being a thing, so they could, because the whole idea was so they could try and close loopholes that that cars found really quickly. They brought it in because of these new rules this year. So I'm not convinced that isn't just fucking teams posturing.
In
No,
F1, surely not.
I'm just looking at the way that the FIA only issued a technical directive rather than formally changed the rules, prompted talk of a protest if Mercedes went ahead and ran the second stay. It's one of those, they haven't crossed all the T's and dotted all the lowercase J's.
Mm.
Don't want to know what they've done with the I's. Yeah, I mean, the way that the FIA are implementing things at the moment, or F1 are implementing things at the moment, half of me was expecting a message to come up on screen saying Q1 will start behind the safety car.
Well, I spotted what was it Martin Brundle or Ted Kravitz spotted the safety car had gone out. I spotted it on one of the long shots. I saw the safety car going out about 10 minutes before the start of Q1. And I went, no way. They sent the safety car out. That means they're going to delay the start by like 15 minutes. And I think I had a tweet written out, and I thought, nah, I'm not going to send it. And I'm glad I didn't, because they didn't obviously delay
Well, think if they do
the start of Q1. But I was convinced that's what they were going to do, because I spotted a long shot from, like, I think it was from like turn 2 or something, looking back down towards the grid, and just in the corner I spotted the corner of the top corner of the safety car coming out the pit lane, and I went, oh, here we go. So,
well, if they had delayed it, then the rain would have actually only got worse.
Well, no, it dried up, didn't it, as qualifying went on? So,
yeah, but then it started again after the session, didn't it?
oh, did it? I've no idea.
It's after the session, it doesn't count.
Yeah, but that would have been in that 15-minute window. Shall we go team by team?
Yes.
Why not?
Because I think that's what it needs. So we'll start with Haas.
Great qualifying.
Great qualifying and unlucky race.
Yeah.
Mick with the DNF seemed to conk out on the same corner that Perez went out on, which we'll get to later. Which
it's like his car just shat itself in excitement when Guan Yu Zhou overtook him.
We had one of our listeners, Vince Scholes, in that corner. He was sending photos through Sunday. So thank you very much for that. The Schumacher photo never made it. And K-Mag, brilliant. Just like the car did. And then K-Mag, brilliant qualifying, and then the unluckiest meatball flag ever.
I think that was a little bit of jockeying, you know, because I've seen cars in worse positions than that, worse conditions than that, and they've let it go for, you know, until first pit stop, because they know at the first pit stop you're going to change your front wing. And then you got Ocon, who is like 2-3 cars behind Magnussen at the time. You're like, oh, I can see it, it's flapping, it's definitely going to fall off. Like, oh, fuck off,
Yeah,
mate.
wouldn't like to get that in my head.
Yeah, I think it's going to hit me in the head.
Yeah, no, it's not. Oh, it's not Esteban. It's fine. And yeah, it was just really unlucky timing as well. That I think he came in the lap before the virtual safety car.
Yeah,
to get the new front wing. So if he'd have waited, you know, a lap later, he'd probably have had a much better day. But
yeah, because you've got 3 laps from 3 laps from when the meatball flag comes out.
Meatball flag, by the way, is an apt description for nobody who knows. A black and orange flag is a black flag with an orange circle in the middle of it. It does look like a meatball.
Yep, so respect the meatball. Unfortunately, K-Mag respected it too soon and ended up finishing 17th. It's a shame, but the Haas is, I mean, we say it every week, certainly the most improved car this time, but what luck does Mick need to have to get points?
He wouldn't have got points even if his car held out.
I think he would have been good for about a 9th or a 10th.
Nah, he had no pace. No pace, and you had quicker guys behind him as well at that point coming through.
Yeah, when you look at... He
Zhou
may
finished
be...
8th, I think, didn't he? And he just passed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he maybe would have stayed ahead of Stroll in the Aston Martin, but maybe. That's a maybe. So a point, possibly. But he didn't have the pace of Alonso, Zhou, Bottas, Ocon, or anybody else. So...
still, I think he'd have been at the arse end of the points, 9th or 10th.
That's fair.
You
But
know,
no
I think
more
it was on. I think K-Mag would have been in a similar position without that, because he was losing places from the start. Although you can't tell what happened because it was sort of the run round turns 1 and 2 that caused the wing problems, and of course he's going to lose aero from that. And just because a car's good in qualifying doesn't actually mean it's good in the race.
Yeah.
Alpine. Right, Williams. Albon in 13th, Latifi in 16th. Albon, another unlucky one because he pitted before the second virtual safety car and dropped from 8th to 16th.
Yeah, he was in the same boat as Vettel, wasn't he? Because Vettel did the same thing, and he finished pretty much line astern.
Yeah,
with Sebastian Vettel outside the points, but had a good opportunity. As we say, arse end of the points is it would have been possible. Whether it would have happened, don't know or not, but it would have been a possibility for him with a bit more luck.
Yeah, and then of course Latifi, who was a pit stop behind after everybody had made a pit stop and he hadn't.
And somehow the only car he managed to finish ahead of was Kevin Magnussen.
Yeah.
Oh, is this? There's more traction now, do you think, to the Piastri in mid-season?
It feels like it's going that way, doesn't it? It definitely feels like the Piastri thing is hotting up.
I mean, Ted was saying on the qualifying notebook that there's an announcement about... oh, dear.
Oh, no.
There's an announcement due for Piastri to Williams coming possibly as early as Silverstone, and it'll be for next season, but some are saying maybe sooner. I can't see any need for Williams to hold on to Latifi for a minute longer than possible.
Well, they did launch a Canada range of merch, didn't they?
Yeah.
We've got to recoup some of their money somehow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure both people that bought it. But
Yeah, he's not the Canada driver they're looking for, is he?
No, I didn't see any Latifi fans in Canada. Not to say there aren't any. I'm sure there are plenty of fans out there. But
Everyone's got a family.
I did see a few Lance Stroll fans.
there is a
crowd.
Lance Stroll grandstand.
Well, there you go. That's probably why I saw them.
Let me hang on. I had a photo. We had a photo.
I did see a poster that said "Lights out and away we stroll," and I'm like, "That's accurate." Yeah, I was like, "That is pretty accurate."
Oh, there it is. Right, I will copy this image and I'll stick it on our group chat. But there is an actual Lance Stroll grandstand.
The joys of technology.
It's
Waiting for a picture to arrive.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's not very big.
It's not arrived for me yet. Where's it gone?
It's here. It's just
here it is.
Yeah,
And I take it that was during the race.
that was from about a week and a half ago. Oh, get down, you bloody cat!
My question is who-
It's Lee Stevens.
my my question is, who gave Lawrence Stroll a can of paint?
Yeah, that's graffiti, my guy.
Hang on, we're gonna. I'm just gonna have to hit pause. There's a cat about to destroy several £100 worth of whiskey.
Pause.
And unpause. Yeah, sorry about that. That was nearly very expensive. Where were we? Apart from Canada and
We were talking about the Lance Stroll grandstand, even though I think we were on Williams.
the Lance.
Yeah, Williams had a shit race. Next.
Fair. It's a completely fair assessment.
Yep, that'll do. AlphaTauri. Gasly in 14th. Another bad race.
He had an issue with the car, I think, didn't he? They said quite early on something was bothering him.
And Tsunoda's DNF cut one of the biggest rookie mistakes, even though he's technically a rookie. You know what I mean?
First
Not
time
a
in
rookie.
Canada. First time in Canada.
First time. Yeah,
Not
but he
the-
knows
not the
full
fir-
well
not
that
the
if you
first
steam
time-
into a
Not the first time exiting the pit.
No.
if you steam into a corner with cold tires and you brake and try and turn, that is not going to work.
No, it's not ideal.
Any sim game will show you that. Actually, I tried to brake really hard with cold tires and nothing happened. Yeah, I wonder why.
It's strange, isn't it? Because he kind of looked like he was coming together a little bit, but is so up and down.
Then he goes with Katayama.
He had done like a really, to say that he started at the back, he'd made quite good progress. He looked like he could be sort of on for a sneaking a point kind of thing, and forgot.
He was
forgot
part of
about
that
corners.
massive. He's part of that train, wasn't he? The Ricardo, Norris, Gasly, I think, was actually in there as well at one point. He was part of that massive train of cars that was just sort of, tailing the points.
At one point, it was Guan Yu Zhou, Lance Stroll, and him. Because I remember thinking, "Oh well, there's a crash waiting to happen."
See, Guan Yu Zhou, I don't think has been that crashy. He's had a couple of accidents. He's had
Stroll and
underwhelming...
Tsunoda trying to force their way past him was my bigger concern.
Yeah, he's just had an underwhelming start, I would say. Been very unlucky, but we'll move on to Alfa Romeo shortly.
But
anything more about AlphaTauri?
Well, no, because it was kind of a non-week for him, really. Promised a little bit, delivered slightly less.
Is Gasly driving for Ferrari next year?
Jean Todt says he's driving for AlphaTauri next year.
Okay, because Charles Leclerc gave him
apparently.
Charles Leclerc gave him his Ferrari cap. Did anyone see that on the way out on Saturday? I think it was when they were leaving the circuit.
No, missed that.
As they were leaving the circuit on Saturday, Charles Leclerc took his Ferrari cap off and put it on Pierre Gasly's head, who was, I think, leaving in a Ferrari. And then, I might got that wrong. He might not be in a Ferrari, but then he seemed to quite enjoy the fact that he was wearing Charles Leclerc's Ferrari hat.
Well, there you go. There's a rumor.
Interesting. What we did
maybe it wasn't Pierre Gasly. Maybe it was Pedro Gaseoso.
What we did see this weekend is Gasly and Tsunoda's parents hanging out together quite a lot. They appear to now. They appear now to be drinking buddies.
That's a bad idea, isn't it? I mean, I like the people I work with. I wouldn't want my mum and their mum to start hanging out.
Although after being at many gigs that your mum's been at, I mean, your mum is a very sociable person and will socialise with anyone and everyone.
She used to.
Well,
less so these days, but yeah. She used to come to lots of gigs and things, and but I don't think I ever was just like, oh hey, here's somebody I worked with's parents. You should hang out.
Right, McLaren next. A pointless weekend.
Bad weekend for McLaren.
Awful.
Pointless in papaya. Lando's got...
Worst weekend for McLaren? What do we think worst weekend for McLaren since Honda?
Possibly. I mean, what were the pit stops for starters?
Bad.
Yeah, bad pit stop, bad double stacking. Like Norris not having those tyres ready. I mean, he was struggling anyway because he had to revert to an old power unit, didn't he? After his weekend power unit didn't enjoy the rain in qualifying. Bless you.
Thank you.
And then they double stacked the McLarens, put the wrong tyre on for a start, and then after realising that the wrong tyre was on the left front,
just the one.
Nobody told the guy on the right front, just put the right fucking tyre on, you dingbat. What you sat there for?
It was a very confused looking situation.
Yeah, you've got the right wheel.
Wasn't there?
Put it on.
I mean, that is not what you'd normally expect from McLaren.
No.
I mean, maybe I'm too used to the Ron Dennis years where anyone that does make that kind of mistake gets taken out the back and fed to Red Bull.
Well, what do you think the lake is for at the McLaren Technology Centre?
where Ron used to keep the freaking sharks with freaking lasers jumping through fire.
I always took it for granted that slid over, and that's where he kept his intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Oh no, it's Thunderbird 1 that comes out of there.
No, I could definitely see there being some kind of weaponry buried beneath the lake.
I mean, we've all accused Ron Dennis of being a weapons-grade weapon anyway.
To be fair, McLaren is McLaren because of Ron Dennis.
Yes.
I like Ron.
In the same way that we all liked, I don't know, Blofeld or Goldfinger.
I wouldn't want to work for him.
or maybe Gru. Yeah, I
But
mean,
anyway, yeah, McLaren. It's an awful weekend for them.
yeah, I mean, Danny Rick was actually looking like good for 10th place at one point, and then got overtaken by Lance Stroll. That's how bad it was. Then
Yeah, he
again,
was
Stroll had home advantage with both fans in the Stroll grandstand cheering him on.
Yeah.
Yes,
See,
Lawrence Stroll and the cardboard cutout of Lawrence Stroll.
Which one has the most personality?
You decide.
See, I wasn't quite sure how like McLaren's weekend was because like Lando looked pretty good. Well, not pretty, not like what you'd expect, but in qualifying, he looked better than what he got. Before his, before he had his, was it an engine issue he had? I
It
think
was something to do with his power unit.
Yeah. So if you've got Daniel Ricciardo down there running sort of 10th and 11th for a while, and then sort of finally dropping out of the points, if Lando would have put a normal Lando weekend together, you would have thought, oh, well, things are just the same as they were before. So I'm not convinced that this was a bad McLaren weekend. It was just, unfortunately, shit stop hampered Lando, and Lando was having a bad weekend.
But he doesn't have good weekends in Canada. You know, his only other race, he managed 5 laps and his brakes caught on fire.
Yeah. Not great.
No, really not great, yeah. So, yeah, McLaren, nul point.
Hopefully
Get
they can
out.
sort it out for going to Silverstone in 2 weeks.
Fingers crossed. On to the point-scoring teams. Aston Martin next up. Vettel in 12th and Stroll in 10th. Or Canadian first.
Vettel would have been Canadian first. Vettel would have been ahead of Stroll if it weren't for that early pit stop, but just before the safety VSC. If you're taking VSC, say pit stop, but then that's luck, isn't it? As I say, same thing happened with a few drivers.
Apparently, that was all strategy. Vettel, the only driver not to use any new sets of tyres on Sunday.
He had loads, so why not?
I don't know, but
They didn't use any on Saturday.
Yeah,
and in fact, they hardly used any on Friday because it rained on Friday.
He does like
as well.
to recycle, does Seb?
Yeah, I was going to say all 3, but he only stopped twice. Both his sets of tyres on Sunday were used.
Well, if he stopped twice, he would have had 3 sets of tyres.
Only stopped.
He definitely stopped twice.
Stopped twice. All 3 sets. Both sets of hards that he used during the race were used, according to Pirelli, and he started on used mediums.
Okay,
that does seem a bit
fine.
random.
Don't know whether that's sort of personal preference because he thought the used tyres were better than the new ones, or some bizarre kind of strategy. But yeah, just looking at it, there was 1, 2, 3. There was 4 sets of used tyres used in the whole course of the race, all by
And 3 of them were Vettel's.
Yeah, and the 4th set was Stroll.
Well, it didn't work out too badly for Stroll, did it? He did start pretty much right at the back and worked his way to that points place. But Lance Stroll, what's this? His 6th season in Formula One?
It just seems longer.
Is it his 6th, 5th, 6th season,
It'll
something
be
like
about
that?
that.
But he's not. I don't know. I think I'm just going to say it. If he was good enough, we'd know by now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might even be number 7. You know.
Hang on, let's have a
That's incredible. The fact that he's nearly done a decade in Formula One.
It's his sixth season.
2017 debut, was it?
Yeah, yeah. Two seasons
Still.
with Williams, and then Racing Point and Aston Martin.
Madness.
But yeah, he's had podiums.
I'll throw it out there. I think he has the most undeserving Formula One career of all time. Because usually when you get people that come in with his level of talent, they get a year, maybe 2 years, maybe even scratch a third if they're very, very, very lucky. But usually when people come in like him, they fall out really quickly. But obviously, when somebody goes and buys you your own fucking team, that doesn't really happen. So I can't think of anybody else that deserves having a long career in Formula One less.
No, I mean, even if Aston Martin becomes a world championship winning car, they get 2023 absolutely on the nail, and they're 7/10 down the road from anyone else per lap. It doesn't matter who the other driver is in that Aston Martin. Stroll is not world champion.
No.
Talking of undeserving of long careers, Luca Badoa was in Formula One for a total of 16 years.
He wasn't in the
Yeah,
car.
with a massive gap between them, was he? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It was only 4 and a bit seasons across 16 years, but
I remember him in Minardi flipping his car in the gravel trap at Ascari at Monza and thinking, Jesus Christ, is this guy still alive? And yeah, he was alive, but he wasn't in the car for much longer after that, I don't think. And then he suddenly turned up in 2009 at Ferrari, and I was like, what the fuck? Luca Badoa? It's like, we made to pull Giovanni Lavaggi out every time.
Look, he came backwards around a corner, and at Spa, I would never see a Formula One car entering a corner backwards if it wasn't for Luca Badoa.
So we're basically agreed Lance Stroll is Luca Badoa with podiums and a rich dad.
I think Luca Badoa is a better driver.
Lance Stroll can be quick, and he was quick in Canada, but it only yielded a point.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not Max Chilton slow.
No, but Max Chilton didn't have a 7-year Formula One career.
That is true, but he had a rich dad. Well, he still does.
Pedro Diniz.
Again, that's like the emergency loan scheme, isn't it? Oh, we're a team. We're running short of money. Tell you what, let's get Pedro Diniz. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, he must have come in around about, 94? And he stuck around in Formula One till at least 98, 99.
I'm just looking now.
But he was a proper paid driver. He had lots of money, all of the millions. And I think when he was Damon Hill's teammate at Arrows, he paid for Damon Hill to drive for Arrows.
Basically, yes. Why is that?
but Damon Hill was thrilled.
Apparently, at the end of season party, when he walked out of, the Christmas party with Arrows, he turned around and went, "Look forward to kicking your asses next year," because he'd already signed for Jordan. So
he managed 6 seasons.
6.
Yeah.
That's a real COVID chesty cough you got there,
This
Charles.
this is not the COVID cough. This is the one I had from TT practice week, which was a non-COVID cough. And
Well, hang on a second. If this cough has lasted more than 3 weeks, you need to see a doctor.
I've got COVID though. I'm not allowed. No, I'm fairly. It's a lot better than it was. It was a proper cannot breathe situation for a while. But yeah, it's nice and loose now. It's fine.
Okay.
It's improving.
So, are we thinking Lance Stroll? It's the sixth season rule for rich people based on Diniz.
No. I think he's still got a seat, but like Lee said before, his dad owns the team. He's not going anywhere. But yeah, I think.
Well, because in Pedro Diniz's 6th season, or at the end of it, his family offered to buy Prost.
What?
Well,
the person or the team?
Well, kind of both. I think you'd buy one get one free.
The only way Stroll leaves Formula One is when he's personally had enough of it, or if Audi buy Aston Martin.
Yeah.
And if that happens, there is no way that it'll be getting kept on.
No.
Absolutely no chance whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, where do we go next?
Well, Aston Martin, they scored a point, so
Yes.
okay.
Yes, well done.
That's what they do it for. The well done.
Alfa Romeo. Bottas in 7th, Zhou in 8th.
Good race.
Yeah, decent day out. Wasn't it, for them?
Zhou crossed the line in 9th, but made up a place with Alonso's penalty, which we'll get to next. Yeah, I mean, Bottas seems to be getting a lot out of the Alfa Romeo, and Zhou occasionally does. I think that's his second points finish of the season.
Yeah, he had point, I think it was, in the opening race of the season, and he has had a bad run of luck, hasn't he? He's had a couple of retirements.
He had a lot of breakdowns.
Yeah.
Where they've told him we need to retire the car, and he's like, again, really?
Yeah. So no, it was nice to see him actually get a chance to have a race. Couple of
Qualified
decent
well,
overtakes.
Q3.
Qualified well. Bottas had some shenanigan at the start, didn't he? He lost a few places and had to get it back.
But raced well. Yeah, he raced well and ended up finishing ahead of his teammate. So fair fucks to Valtteri Bottas.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think he's a good new driver. I think one of the big teams should maybe be taking a look at him for a few. I'll stop.
Well, if shit goes down at Ferrari, I'm going to repeat what I said pre-season. If shit goes down at Ferrari and Sainz or Leclerc either don't work out or find that they can't work together for whatever reason, Bottas is in prime position to just step into a seat where Ferrari know full well that Bottas can do a great job as a number 2 in a top team. Why wouldn't they put him in if one of those Carloses or Charleses, depending on which country you're from, wants to disappear or is forced to?
Because Gasly's already got a hat.
Well, maybe there is that.
But we've seen the number 2 Gasly, and it didn't work.
No, that is...
Gasly needs to be free as a bird.
Yes, if you need a number 2, Bottas is the safe number 2.
What it needs to be a badly resurrected John Lennon song that's turned into something that sounds like the Electric Light Orchestra.
Do you not think that if there is going to be some sort of shuffle around at Ferrari, there's a good chance that Hamilton will just be offered all of the money in the world?
I suppose potentially. I suppose it depends if that's what he wants.
He said before that he'd like to drive for Ferrari before he retires. If there's something, I know we're kind of getting to a silly season thing here, aren't we?
Silly! It's always silly season.
But
so did Valentino Rossi, and he's driving one at the moment. And he came something like 26th at the weekend.
Right, Charles Leclerc. I think I'm right in saying this. How many races have we had?
Is this
9?
9?
Right, Charles Leclerc had something like 1 podium in the last 6 races. Not just his fault. There's been team problems as well. But I think you've got a problem with apart from the fact that Red Bull are just a good team. You know, even when they've not had the car, they've been the team which would try and roll the dice. You know, would do something to try and get themselves in a better position. They're a really good racing team. Ferrari's not a good racing team, or at least they're not a good racing team right now, and I don't think they have been since Fernando Alonso was in the car.
I didn't even think they were then. They Ferrari themselves. It's become
well, I mean, realistically, what did they do? Like, Fernando carried that team for 3 years, and then they tried to blame it on Fernando while the team was shite. But I think the big problem Ferrari have got is not only are they not quite the race team that they need to be, I don't think Charles Leclerc is capable of beating Max Verstappen. Not over the course of a season. And I think there's very few drivers on the grid that are capable of beating Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton can beat Verstappen over the course of a season. And I can hear them now. I can hear all the little fans going, "Yeah, he did beat him. It was just fucking rules, wasn't it?" Yeah. But
shut up, Cartman.
Lap cars and lap themselves. They didn't know what to do. But I just think Ferrari are going to have to do something again. This whole, I know we've said for ages, the Ferrari needs stability. You know, they need to stop sacking people, but they've done the stability thing now, and it's still not fucking worked for them. So I think they do need to. But I don't know whether it's a Binotto problem. Maybe he's, you know, what we've said before. Maybe he was better off in his role before he was team principal. But even unless that car is better than whichever car Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen is in. I'm not quite willing to put George Russell in that bracket yet because we don't know. You know, he hasn't won a race. You can't say over the course of a season he could beat Max Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton until he's actually shown over a whole season he can do it. But I think he could be up there. But this is going to be the problem for Ferrari. And I think this is where, if they start to realize this, if you've got a spare Lewis Hamilton floating around, then it might be a really good move, because if Lewis is that driver which can drag extra out of a car, whereas Charles Leclerc just seems to be able to do that over one lap. He doesn't seem to be able to do it over a race. Almost a little bit Valtteri Bottas-y.
Yeah, I see what you're getting at. I mean, I think the main problem is with seeing what Leclerc can do is Ferrari. They've got the reliability problem, and when they don't have the reliability problem, they've got the strategy problem. And
when they don't have that, they might have a Leclerc problem.
We don't know, because there's always one or both of the original problems happening.
Oh no, but he's made mistakes this year.
There've been Leclerc problems.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They've just added to the strategy and the reliability issues.
Yeah.
I wonder if someone like a Hamilton as well would help them from a development point of view. Because, I mean, Leclerc is still relatively new to the idea of being in a front-running team. Sainz doesn't have a huge amount of experience with it. I wonder if just having that feedback from someone like a Hamilton would benefit them.
This was Sainz's 150th Grand Prix weekend. Not his 150th start,
yeah,
but his 150th Grand Prix weekend. There have been Ferrari duos with less experience than that. So I'm not saying that Sainz is the team leader or should be the team leader. I think he possibly could be, but I think if there was I think that the chance for Lewis Hamilton to drive for Ferrari has come and gone. And I think even if he was just like, guys, I want to leave Mercedes Formula One team, they would just pay him to not drive and be a Mercedes ambassador for the rest of his life.
Would Lewis do that, though? Because...
I mean, he has said he's got his other stuff he wants to do, hasn't he? Like his film and his movies and his rapping. And
I think that's why he wouldn't do the ambassador thing, though. If he was going to leave, I think he wanted to be on his terms, you know. So he was doing what he wanted to do. Also, even as much money as Mercedes have got, and they could do that. I actually don't think it's worth doing that for them, to be perfectly honest. Because I mean, Lewis is at the end of his career as well. You know, it's not like Adrian Newey getting the golden handcuffs treatment from Red Bull, because he can go for decades, you know, still designing cars. So I don't think it's quite worth that investment. But also for the Hamilton brand, which Hamilton is obviously very aware of, a stint in Ferrari, I think that shine stays on, doesn't it? You look at like the likes of Massa or Eddie Irvine, for instance. The shine of just being a ex-Ferrari driver is something.
Yeah. I mean,
it doesn't come off very, very fast.
Yeah,
Eddie Irvine had it written into his contract that he was able to have a brand new Ferrari years after he retired from driving, and I think he still got a collection of Ferraris that he was able to inherit thanks to his thanks to his contract. You know,
Yeah.
I think when did he stop driving for Ferrari? 2001, 2002.
about then, yeah.
Yeah,
That's when
probably.
Barrichello came in, something like that. And then he had a brand new Ferrari, I think, for every year for like 10 years after that, because it was written into one of his contracts. And,
Well, I mean,
he's still got them.
Case in point about the being a Ferrari driver name staking. Gerhard Berger was over here for a couple of days during TT. he was billed everywhere as ex-Ferrari driver Gerhard Berger, and he's not driven a Ferrari since 1995.
Nope. I mean, it's crazy how long that sticks with you.
Yeah, he was Ayrton Senna's teammate at McLaren, but no, he's ex-Ferrari driver.
Yep.
Yeah, Niki Lauda won a world championship for McLaren, but what team do you associate him with as a driver?
Ferrari.
100%. Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know, that is the thing. I'm just going to say this as a convenient pause point, because while we've been discussing Brand Hamilton, this will make no sense to Patreon listeners because it gets cut out for them. But for everyone else, you're getting a jump cut. Just want to quickly talk about somebody who we're partnering with at the minute. It's a product that I've actually started using every day, AG1, and I started taking it basically because I was looking for sort of slightly better gut health, because it's something that everyone struggled with from time to time, and I just thought I'm going to give this a go, and I didn't want to be taking loads of different supplements every day. So with this, it's just one scoop in a cup of water, and you're getting 75 different high-quality vitamins, minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and something called adaptogens, which apparently, I don't know, judging by the word, I've never heard of it before, they can adapt your gens. And we all need our gens adapting. It's something good to take in the morning because it sort of kicks you off a little bit during the day, and does tend to wake you up a bit without going for excess caffeine. Good thing about it is it's lifestyle friendly. So whatever diet you're on at the moment, there's a lot of those: keto, paleo, vegan, dairy free, gluten free, minerals only, God knows what. It fits in with every kind of diet, and it's not chock full of sugar. So that actually works quite well. They describe it as a micro habit with big benefits. I've never come across a micro habit before, but yeah, you get into the habit of taking it every morning, and it's one thing that you can do every single day to take great care of yourself. And the good thing is, it's actually cheaper than going out and getting coffee. Now, I like my coffee, but I'm prepared to sacrifice 1 cuppa a day. The price works out less than, I'm going to do this in traditional Patreon style, $3, €3 or £3. It's cheap. It's cheaper than that. What more can you really say about this? I mean, it's had 5-star reviews across every single platform. It's recommended by professional athletes, and if you go on the website itself, you will see a Formula One driver that you're aware of who uses and recommends the product. So, to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is go to athleticgreens.com/Formula1, and that's FORMULAONE, just to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Lovely.
And there is the end of the jump cut.
Hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I hope
Dickheads.
I hope you do enjoy that.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, enjoy that.
And don't forget to click the link, like, and subscribe. That's what you meant to say, isn't it?
Something like that.
Ah, right. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll do it.
Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more uploads.
Smash
That's the
that
other one.
vitamin button.
One of my colleagues referred to hitting the notification bell for free notifications at some point today, because apparently there's an option to charge for notifications in this particular person's world.
Well, iTunes have started charging for podcasts. We're not.
No, this was talking about Twitter, I believe.
Oh Christ!
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's now Twitter Premium, where only subscribers see certain content from people.
Interesting.
Boring.
No. That Twitter are now effectively charging for notifications.
I don't think that's what this person was referencing.
They were just inadvertently right. I'm talking about being inadvertently right. Alonso's qualifying. We'll do Alpine.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Rolling back the years.
Yeah, I mean, the last time he qualified on the front row, I think it was 40% of the grid had never driven a Formula One car.
Ridiculous. Crazy.
McLaren posted a picture of Lando Norris, didn't they? Roughly around the last time Fernando Alonso was on the front row. He's about 10.
Yeah, that was. I think you can call that a sort of timeless Alonso performance on Saturday.
Yeah, it was very good. And even, I like Alonso. I respect him as a racing driver. I've never really been what you would call an Alonso fan, but it was
me
exciting. Lies. It was exciting to watch, though, wasn't it? It was really exciting to watch Fernando Alonso get that front row, and from then until sort of the start of the race on Sunday, I think everybody was thinking, "Go on, just stick it up the inside at turn one. You've got nothing to lose." But he got shit start. So.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, looking at the speed, looking at how that car was in the dry anyway, I don't think he'd have been there for too long. It would have been interesting if we'd got a wet race.
Mm.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if he had a wet race, but also if he had stuck it up the inside, got a good start, stuck it up the inside and max at turn one, and led, I think maybe 2/3 of a lap. I don't think he would have been leading at the end of the first lap.
Yeah.
Unless, as we say, the race was wet, that might have evened things up a little bit. But then if the race was wet, we could have had plenty more incidents. We could have ended up with Luca Badoa winning the race.
No, his engine would have still conked out 100 metres from the finish and have got 11th.
He would have gone backwards over the finish line on lap one.
Like, Alonso, something needs to happen to his luck, though. I mean, quite how he ended up behind Ocon is pretty sensational.
Ocon was quick, wasn't he, in that final stint after the after the last safety car.
Alonso ended up with car trouble on Sunday because there was an air leak in the engine. So I think
he got fucked in the pit stops as well, didn't he? Didn't he get fucked with the safety cars?
Oh, that sounds painful. I hope there's some kind of lubricant.
Yeah, it's just like both safety cars. Like, he.
I think,
he stayed out after the first one,
lap
didn't he?
Before the full safety car or something like that.
Yeah,
I think he
and
just timed it wrong.
Yeah, and he was put in a position with the virtual safety car where he'd gone past before he could take advantage of the virtual safety car. So it was kind of, I mean, it was bad strategy from his team. Yeah,
I think the virtual safety car came about sort of 20 seconds too late for him. Because if it had been earlier, he'd have been in a position to dive in right at the start of it. But I think one of the pit stops, he was just past the pit entrance, so I had to do the extra lap.
Yeah.
But Ocon getting sixth, he was putting that car in some decent places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ocon's a good driver. There's no, I mean, how good, I think, is probably up for debate, but, he's a solid Formula One driver.
He's learnt from his time at Force India as well, wasn't he? Like he was always just driving into people, but now seems to be a quite a firm defender, but doesn't seem to trip over people as much, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a solid number two, whichever team he ends up in.
Solid number two.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm wrestling with a cat who's now got
Yeah,
away.
you've lost.
Yeah,
You've
I've
lost.
lost. She's going for she's going for the booze shelf again.
Nobody likes a running number two, let's be honest.
Nobody likes what this bloody cat's doing. Oh, hang on, she's coming down. Oh God, it's
Welcome
attracting
to
lots
cat
of
commentary.
yeah,
Today on Cat
running
Commentary.
cat commentary. I'm now getting the cat treats out.
What's the plan if this doesn't work?
It will work, but it will work for a limited period.
More cat treats.
If this doesn't work, decamp to a locked room. I'm just throwing cat treats all over the floor, so there's cats everywhere. Right, where were we next? Mercedes.
A decent race for Mercedes.
Yeah.
Terrible Friday. They tried what was that hole punch thing that they had cut out the floor? I heard that they cut an oval out of the floor, and I thought, oh, okay, that seems quite sizable. But then I saw a picture of it, and I was like, that's literally somebody's taken a hole punch and gone, there you go, lads, sorted.
It's a bit like I think this was on Friday. It was like Red Bull taking an angle grinder to something and Ted was very surprised because you don't see angle grinders in Formula One a great deal these days.
No, it was quite a rustic looking repair, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But,
I missed the Mercedes hole punch, but obviously there was there was Staygate.
Yeah, the hole punch was run on Lewis Hamilton's car on Friday, FP1, and there wasn't on any of the cars for FP2. And yeah, for the car to going to be totally undrivable, man, to then having a quality where he puts it fourth and then finishes third in the race, that's a pretty good turnaround for Lewis Hamilton. I mean, it's not what we've expected from from Mercedes or Lewis in the last 7-8 years. I saw a tweet that you posted, Lee, about people saying that the Mercedes is a bad car and it's like the third best car. It's pretty much where last year's McLaren was, and nobody said that was a bad car, which is right. But at the same time, when was the last time a Mercedes was this far away from the leaders? I think 2012.
Did I say? I think it had Schumacher driving it.
2012, I think, was the year where it was weirdly enough, it was Red Bull versus Ferrari, wasn't it, that year? And, it was Alonso versus Vettel. And I think Rosberg won a race for Mercedes, China, I think it was their first win. And then in 2013, Mercedes were like the second best team. And then obviously there was the rule change and Mercedes ran away with everything since then. But so in terms of like what we've come to expect from Mercedes, this is still, it's a massive improvement this weekend, but it's still not what they expect. But the improvements appear to be working on actual racetracks and not on bumpy street circuits.
Although I'm sure we'll see Christian Horner complaining about them before much longer.
Yeah.
Can him and Toto just get in the fucking ring and sort it out once and for all?
my money
You
would be
still
on
there,
Toto.
Lee? Did you hear what I said about your tweet?
Sorry?
No,
Yeah.
Lee's Lee's watching YouTube videos about
No.
aliens.
I was
something else.
looking at
Born.
I was looking at a badly written Formula One article because I thought the way it's worded about Alonso it started Alonso's bad luck continues as he drops even further down standings, and the way it was written, I thought he'd got like a after the race penalty that had just sort of been breaking. So I was just trying to read that article. It's not. It was just saying that he had a bad race.
He did get an after the race penalty.
He did get a 5-second penalty for weaving when he was trying to.
He lost 2 places.
What?
Did Vettel get a penalty?
Vettel did not get a penalty. Norris got a penalty
because he was under
investigation
for
but
safety car infringement, wasn't it?
Alonso finished 7th, but got a penalty and ended up coming 9th.
Finished 9th.
Oh right, okay, cool. So that's I was halfway through reading it, but yeah, I was.
Vettel was investigated for not being within 10 car lengths during a safety car.
Right, was that what that was?
Yeah.
Yes.
I saw a safety car infringement.
I think there were a couple that were looked at for that. Norris got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Sonoda, I think, got a fine for speeding in the pit lane before the race.
Oh dear.
I think that was it.
Oh God, I don't know what that counts.
Crazy. Sorry, anyway, I'm not reading that thing now. What tweet of mine was that, Flood?
The McLaren, when you were saying that people complaining that Mercedes is a bad car,
Yeah.
but it's about where the McLaren was last year. Nobody said that the McLaren was a bad car, but I think it's relative, isn't it? Because the last time a Mercedes was this far away from the leaders was about 2012, and obviously McLaren were on their way up last year, so it balanced out and it seemed a bit better. But having said that,
people are pretending that car is undrivable. That's what gets
I think
me.
it has been undrivable
It's
times.
always been the third best car. Well, pretty much always been the third best car come Sundays.
Lewis keeps saying it's undrivable
Until he got a podium. Now he said the porpoising's fixed.
No, that's because the surface of the track, isn't it? Let's be honest. Because there was you couldn't visibly see the porpoising as like you could in Azerbaijan. In Baku, it was awful.
Yeah,
but And it wasn't just Mercedes. I think Ferrari suffered with it as well, but Mercedes much worse. But
Still
apparently,
a good car,
it's not a terrible car. Apparently, Mercedes engineers don't know what the margins are for making it work. They just happened to make it work in Canada after having a really shit Friday.
Yeah, it's weird.
So they don't understand the car. Then, as I said, I don't know if I said it pre-pod or earlier on the pod, the circuits that they're coming to next, quite a lot of circuits are proper smooth circuits designed for top class racing, such as Formula One. So they're not expecting it to be a problem, the porpoising to be a problem until maybe Monza again.
Which is a traditionally sort of rough and bouncy circuit just by dint of the amount of curb that you take on the few corners that are there.
And the fact that there's hardly any top-level downforce and also long straights.
Yeah, that Monza, that's the race to Stinky Five on Alonso. Because that low drag rear wing that the Alpine's got is fucking rapid on a straight.
So a couple of quid on Ocon then.
But both Alpines, both the podiums, when you think Alonso was like 100-1 to win the race, I know. Come Sunday, he was nowhere near, but if it would have rained, he would have been in the hunt for a win there. And if you'd put the bet on Thursday, it would have been 100-1 odds you got.
Yeah, pretty sure they came down on Saturday.
Oh yeah, pretty fucking rapidly, I'd imagine.
So, what do we think about the FIA coming in with the sort of new regulations to stop porpoising?
It's not to stop porpoising, is it? It's to measure porpoising so that they could.
Well, no, it was measure this weekend and then act on it for the next races.
Yeah.
Well, apparently every driver, apart from Fernando Alonso, which said it's sound, lads, get on with it. Every driver in the behind closed doors drivers meeting, agreed that something needs to be done with it. Apparently, it's just a case that when people get out in front of cameras, all of a sudden they've got to toe the line for whatever is better for their team. But very much behind closed doors, the drivers want something done about it.
I've seen some tweets saying that in Azerbaijan, Hamilton had 10G going through his spine. Now it wasn't being measured, so I don't know how they've come up with that figure of 10G going through your back.
I read 6G was the highest load, so
right.
Maybe people are just
numbers are just
Gs
that's
around.
what I mean. I think numbers are being thrown around, but it
surely
does need to be sorted. But
the more G's you throw, the harder it is to pick them up and throw.
Indeed,
I'll see myself out.
But the most difficult thing, the most difficult thing is that you always get team bosses and teams, like Lee said then, you come out in front of the cameras. Christian Horner, Red Bull, can Sky please fucking find somebody else to talk to over a weekend? But
they used
he's
to mix
obviously
it up, didn't
gonna.
They used to, and then
Yeah,
this year it seems
it's
to be all
always
just,
Christian
and now
fucking
Christian Horner.
Yeah, just
Maybe they could call it Christian Corner.
Horner Corner.
Media Horner.
Loves the sound of his own. Anyway, they're always going to jockey for what's best for their team. And we're so far into the season, we're essentially a third of the way in, nearly halfway actually into the season. And there's no way that anybody's going to give any quarter to any other team that might help them improve slightly. So Ferrari and Mercedes have porpoising issues. Red Bull, not really. So Christian Horner's saying, oh, no, we don't need to change the rules just because a few teams didn't get it right. And then you've got Christian Horner trying to say, well, we need to have a look at this budget cap. That's the most important thing. Budgets, but the budget cap, because we might have to miss some races. And then you got people like Toto Wolff obviously lobbying for his own team, being like, well, if you miss races, tough shit. It's not our fault you can't spend your money properly. Mm-hmm. So, and this is the problem that you're going to have now, because these rules are already in and set. unless there's something changed for 23, and I think it's too late to change rules for 23. I think we've passed the threshold, haven't we? So it would have to be for 24 that new rules came in to limit porpoising.
I think they can still change rules for 23, but it's got to have the approval of all teams.
That rings a bell.
And that's what I mean. You're not going to get the approval of all teams together, are you? When it's going to benefit one over the other.
It's not generally how they work, is it? The teams being agreeable.
Don't you just need a majority now, though?
No,
it's unanimous.
After next year's regs have been ratified, I think it does have to be all of them.
I think the cut-off date for next year was something like mid-March or early April.
Because do you remember the Ferrari veto, the famous Ferrari veto? I don't know if they still got it.
Gone. I think that's gone.
No.
Did they veto getting rid of the veto?
They still have it because 9 teams voted to get rid of the veto.
And Ferrari decided to not.
I wonder who the other one was.
Checkmate.
Yeah, we need a unanimous decision to get rid of Ferrari having a veto. 9-1. Oh, sorry, that's not unanimous, is it? Let's crack on, lads. Ferrari keep the veto.
Just looking. Yeah, I mean, Horner's whinging about one thing, Toto's whinging about another. Let's just have Gunter swearing every weekend on the pit wall if they're going to do that.
Darth Toto returned, didn't he?
Yes, he looked very imposing in the
with his hood up.
The red, not the red, the rain jacket. Yes.
Yeah, Darth Toto. Everybody's got a cross on their back, a target on their back.
Yeah. That was one of the most imposing ways to finish a series ever. I mean, everything else in Drive to Survive last year was pure fucking theatre. That was pure fucking theatre.
Bit of an anticlimax, though, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, as it turns out, everyone's got a target, but their sights aren't working properly.
Yeah.
Ferrari, then.
Charles Leclerc started last, finished 5th. It's kind of what you'd expect from him, isn't it, really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
in all honesty.
The car had the pace to finish amongst the front runners and did. It would have been a bad race if it had started 19th and finished like 8th and 9th.
He nearly did. I think he was probably on for that kind of finish until the safety car at the end.
Yeah.
And I think it was. Again, I think we had. Yeah, I think we had a race robbed from us at the same time. It was really, really interesting. After the safety car, and you had Sainz attacking Verstappen on fresher tires, and had DRS for the whole time, the last 15 laps or whatever it was. At the same time, I really wanted to see Max Verstappen versus Carlos Sainz on worn tires, with Verstappen trying to get past Sainz. I think that would have been an possibly even more entertaining race on worn tyres. They wouldn't have been able to stay that close for as long as they did at the end on fresher tyres. So, yeah, I mean, whilst it did sort of bunch the field up and was like, and like I said earlier, it was a great advert for a sprint race at Canada. At the same time, we were robbed a little bit of defensive Sainz.
It just shows you the pace that the Red Bulls got. Because everyone's saying, DRS, all you need to do is switch it on that straight and you instantly get past. Well, that didn't work.
No, they were really good traction, weren't they, coming out of all of the corners?
Certainly over the last about 4 or 5 laps, you could tell Sainz had actually absolutely killed those tyres because the amount of squirreling that he was getting coming out the hairpin, a couple of the other corners when he was trying to get straight back on the power. And the back of that car ended up very, very wobbly. He just destroyed his tyres trying to make up that gap. What was it? A 21 kilometre an hour advantage that he had over Verstappen under DRS.
Yeah, but he was always 8 or 9 tenths behind, and it's just too much of a gap to plug down that main straight, and then the start finish straight is just it's too short really.
Yeah. It's one of those. Should it even have DRS on it? Because it's not really worth it.
They had 3 DRS zones, didn't they? So
yeah, why bother? Why not just slap make DRS constantly available? anywhere.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
For everyone all the time.
yeah,
You can Mark Webber it and just forget that you got it switched on and slide off on a corner.
yeah. You want to use it? You want to take that corner with your wing open? You go for it.
Yeah, well, it closes automatically when you touch the brake, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
The problem is it
half of it
negates
does.
using it, doesn't it? If everybody can use it at all times, you'd have to still keep the 1 second rule. But I think maybe if you're within a second of the guy in front, you should be able to use your DRS whenever your car can use it.
yeah, instead of within zones.
Yeah, because I mean, all you get is drivers holding up whoever's behind them while they're recharging the battery, and then just unleashing all the power on as soon as they get on the DRS zone.
Yeah,
So
well,
it makes it harder to pass, and it just sort of does away with what it's meant to be there for.
it's not like when you get series with push to pass buttons, they're not limited to when they can use their push to pass button, to a certain like X amount of kilometers of the racetrack.
Yeah, it's you want to use it, you've got it.
Yeah, it was like original Kers. Jensen Button said he loved racing with Kers because you could make somebody use all their Kers up by defending. You just had to do is sit in the slipstream, and then when you knew they were pretty much out of Kers, then you could just deploy yours, and it wouldn't necessarily mean you get past, but it made you really think about when you used it because you only had it for a set amount of time per lap. So
Yeah, what was it?
rather
Was it something like 15 seconds per lap, wasn't it?
I can't remember. Don't think it was that much, but yeah, it was having a time restricted instead of zone restricted might work better. I don't know.
Yeah, because something needs to be done. So I mean, we saw the Leclerc and Verstappen sort of the DRS shenanigans in Bahrain and Saudi as well, I think, with the not wanting to pass. So you've got it on the next straight, and there's nothing that the guy in front can do, and then you just swap places on the next one, and it just carries on going like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, woo, makes more overtakes, but they don't actually mean anything because you can't really get away, and then all of a sudden you're the target.
Yeah. Well, that's when it comes into sort of tactical using, doesn't it? If you've only got it for a certain amount of time per lap rather than a zone, you got to then be cautious with where you use it to make sure that if you get past, you've got enough of it to use again to get further down the road to stop the guy behind then attacking you.
Yeah. Have we just fixed F1 again?
Well, we've fixed F1, I think. We've given the rules that we've been given this year.
Yeah, kind of ish. So, anything really more to say on Ferrari apart from they were in danger of screwing themselves over?
No, I think it was a decent-ish race for Ferrari. It was just that there's a Max Verstappen in a Red Bull, isn't there? And I don't know who else is going to stop him now this year. I don't think any of the Ferraris are going to.
No.
I don't think Ferrari have got the capability. Not
I think they're running
consistently.
out.
I mean,
No, I think they're running out of steam.
The only driver to actually beat Verstappen while he's still been running this year has been Perez.
Yes, in Monaco.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically Sainz as well.
Technically,
He finished second.
Technically, Sainz did, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, this is Red Bull's season. Gutted for Perez because I thought he was on for a decent recovery after the nightmare in qualifying.
Yeah, it was a strange. He admitted it was his fault, didn't he? He said, I made a mistake and ended up in the wall. But just how early in the braking that wheel locked up, I don't think it can be 100% put on Perez to, whoa, how did you do that and not spot it? Do you know what I mean? It's got to be something to do with the conditions as well, because it locked up so early. Like literally, he must have just been breathing on the brake pedal and it locked, which meant he went straight on. The
only thing I can think was it was a bit of driver error, and he just got his brake bias set too far forward for that particular sequence.
Maybe, perhaps. Yeah, we'd need somebody with a bit more racing car knowledge, perhaps, to weigh in on that one. But yeah, it seems like it was just a little bit too strange for it to be purely driver error, if you know what I mean. Like, as in, like, just braking error. Because the wheel just locked instantly. So I felt sorry for him, but yeah, he did look like he was on for a good recovery until his car said, nah, I'm all right, actually.
Yeah, have they actually said what happened? Because it just stopped working.
I don't think they have.
They wanted to get the car back to the garage, didn't they? But Christian Horner, in his Christian Corner, said that it was... it sounded like it was gearbox related.
More penalties incoming. Good to see that we're into the penalty stage of the season now, isn't it?
No, we've not even fucking got halfway through the season.
I know.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the first two big engine penalties, and we'll be getting more. And I think Lando's probably the next on the list. Because nothing's been said about the engine that he had on Saturday being repairable or not, but that was number 3 that's gone.
Yes, we've only got 1 and 2 left, and they're both quite worn.
Yeah, and we saw the pace that he didn't have using either 1 or 2 at the weekend or on Sunday, which unfortunate. So yeah, Max. Don't think he really did anything wrong.
No, faultless pretty much. Pole position. An incident-free race. Within a few laps of being hounded by Sainz, I think he knew he had the measure of Sainz. He knew where he had to be faster. He knew where the Ferrari was faster, and played it brilliantly. Drove like a champion.
Which
I really
as much as some people don't like, that's what he is at the moment.
Yeah, I really feel this is going to be a walkover from this championship, isn't it?
It's looking that way now, isn't it? That he's hit his stride. Leclerc's gone off the boil, and by the time Leclerc gets it back, it's going to be done.
Yeah. Well, the drivers is what's the difference there? 40 something points. 46 points.
46.
46 points in the drivers.
Let's
his teammate.
Let's be realistic. The gap is 49 points to the next person who can challenge him for the title.
Well, Perez is 46 points behind Leclerc, 49. And then, weirdly enough, George Russell, 15 points behind Charles Leclerc.
Only driver to score in every race.
Yeah,
and
Mr. Consistency,
and
that's what they're
finish in
calling
the
him
top
now.
5.
Yeah,
I still stand by that. There is more chance of Mercedes sorting their problems out and George Russell giving Verstappen a run for his money for the championship than there is Charles Leclerc.
It would have to be. It'd have to be a hell of a run because there's 98 points between them.
Oh no, that's what I mean. It would be like an outsider type of thing. But I think there's more chance of because
I just points between Hamilton and Verstappen.
Sorry, yeah, sorry, it's 64 points between Russell and Verstappen.
I think there's George Russell's a better driver than Charles Leclerc, and Mercedes is a better team than Ferrari. So if Mercedes can sort the car out, I think George has got the best opportunity to stop Verstappen as far as any of them out there.
Yeah, I don't want it to seem like it's a false dawn, but I do think that Mercedes can perhaps push on. I think they're too far behind to challenge Red Bull, but I think they could maybe challenge Ferrari for second and have a glorious, run at the end of the year where they're the second best car and feel a bit better about themselves because they improved things. But I don't think a race win is guaranteed by any stretch of the imagination, and I don't think the development is going to be able to catch Red Bull. Maybe their consistency will mean that they outdo Ferrari, but
it would have to be that the speed is in that car, and then whatever they do, coupled with whatever the FIA do to stop the cars bottoming out so much. Just all those things would have to line up and come to them. You know, the speed would have to be there without the bottoming out problem.
Yeah, and the constructors as well. Red Bull are the only team over 300 points. Although Mercedes are only 40 points behind Ferrari. So it's not impossible, but as I say, it's still very difficult.
It would be
Fourth at the
interesting-
moment are McLaren on 65 points. Mercedes are third on 188.
Yeah.
And McLaren are fourth on 65.
They don't look like the moving forward team they did at the minute, do they?
Who's that, sorry?
McLaren, you know, if
No.
anything, Alpine looks like the team that could maybe sort their problems out and start pushing forward, but McLaren look lost.
It's Alpine and Alfa Romeo for me, I think, at the top of the midfield.
McLaren, it's just very inconsistent as well, isn't it? Like, you genuinely don't know where they're going to be weekend to weekend.
I think it's a case of I never wanted to get on this bandwagon, but I think Danny Rick is really letting him down.
He's not helping matters.
This is what I was going to say. Do you think his
Baku performance was all right.
How lost he is? Yeah, I mean, but his performance in Monza was okay as well last year. But
he's only scored points twice this season.
Yeah, and it's not just the points thing. Even like looking at getting an understanding of the car, they've only got one driver that can drive it like consistently. So when they're going for debrief and they're giving and they talk about the car, you've got 50% of your driver lineup is lost.
It is.
And
It's when you're trying to
can't help
fix a
development.
problem. Yeah, it doesn't help, does it? When you've got sort of two drivers who are not coming at it from the same angle, it's not going to solve the problem any quicker.
It does make you wonder whether that's one of the issues that went into development of this year's car, because obviously last year you were still coming off the back of the Sainz and Lando pairing, which would have been we're clearly very much on the same page. So all last year, where you should be collecting data as you try and work out where you're going to go with your car and what you're going to do development wise, you've got someone just scratching their head, go, well, we'll just make it different next year, and it might suit me.
And it's ended up not necessarily suiting either particularly well.
Yeah,
it's kind of the worst sort of compromise. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where Alpine go with any developments that are coming on, and you know they could be pushing for fourth. Wasn't this the season where they were going to get championships on their original plan?
I've lost track of their original plan.
yeah. That was screwed up. We're on L plan now.
Yeah, not
Plan
EL,
L,
not
you
EL
mean.
plan, Plan L.
Yeah.
Right, that leaves things like Rockstars and Wankers. Oh, and of course, your regular reminder that Nico Hulkenberg is still ahead of Nicholas Latifi in the Drivers' Championship.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Rockstars and Wankers. I mean, Verstappen, Rockstar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not put a wheel wrong.
Mercedes, you can put Mercedes as rock stars.
I think so.
Yeah,
They turned around a really bad Friday to make it a really decent Sunday for them.
Mm-hmm.
Were Haas potentially rock stars on Saturday and then wankers on Sunday?
Yeah.
Rockstars on Saturday. I don't know. Were they wankers? It seems
Did
a bit,
they look
bit
like
unfair.
wankers?
I think they maybe looked like wankers, but I don't think it wasn't Haas's fault, was it?
It wasn't their own doing.
No,
Ironically, for
Schumacher's
wankering.
retirement was poor luck, and Magnussen's position was down to some bitching from Esteban Ocon, which I strongly disagree with.
So
but
wanker for Ocon.
yeah, I think so.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Giovinazzi Participation Award.
Williams
Yeah.
as an entity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to... Lando Norris, maybe. Feel sorry, I love Lando, but yeah, no, that didn't work out for him at all.
I think. Yeah, I'd go with that, but I'm definitely saying Williams.
Yeah, Williams for the participation award.
Yeah, we just didn't see much of them all
Albon
weekend. Albon
popped
was
himself up, didn't he? He popped himself up now and again.
and just when you thought he was going to do well, he didn't.
Yeah.
Again, not his fault, bad timing, but
McLaren pit stops for wanker.
oh hell yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was the weather, Rockstar. Wet qualifying gave us a really interesting dry race.
Couldn't have kept it for Sunday though. That would have been good.
Yeah, but then you got wet quali, wet race, and I think
Wet is better.
quali. No, I think wet quali, dry race makes it very interesting. You got different strategies going on then, haven't you? Who set their car up for quali? Who set their car up for the race?
Dry quali, wet race. That's just a shit show waiting to happen. But when it's the other way around,
I know what you mean, but it was just that all the teams were so close on Saturday. It would have been great to see that as a race. And do you know what I really liked was the fact that it was proper tipping it down at points during quali. And not for 1 minute did they like drop the red out and wait for the rain to fuck off. You know, they did it like they should do, and they let them get on with it.
Yeah, as I said, I did see that. Did see the safety car going out before Q1, and I did think it was going to get postponed, but luckily it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I say, miracle it wasn't Q1 starts under the safety car. But
Also, did it?
Bert Mylander gets pole.
Did anybody notice how deep George Russell was going into that pool into T1?
Yep, yeah,
Every
right through it.
Every time he did that, I thought, he's going to lose it here, because you saw there was a few other drivers you saw like taking a slightly wider line in there, but every flying lap, he had the confidence to just stick it in there. It was great.
Yeah, and he only went through the shallow bit when he was on slicks.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that was him taking a wider line. It's just that the normal line that he took was through about 2 inches of standing water. Yeah, the wider line was only about half an inch, but it was still too much.
Still say it was worth the gamble. Had he managed to light up those tires, like he said, like he did at Sochi last year when he was driving for Williams, if he managed to get them in the working temperature, he would have been on the front row, possibly even pole.
Oh, if he'd have got round and got them in temperature, there's no way. Like, you're making seconds up with slicks. So
yeah, if he got them working, he just didn't get them working.
Yeah, if he got them, he'd have been on pole. It was
a gamble. It just didn't pay off.
Yeah, because I mean, there was what 6 seconds. 6 seconds between the Carlos Sainz's fastest lap and the pole time on Inters. So if he had gotten working, he would have got somewhere in that 6 second gap.
The only thing I would go against that gamble was, usually you take gambles when you've nothing to lose.
I know what you mean. I thought it would have been like a Danny Rick type gamble. Yeah.
He would have been like, I just when I got some of them on side halfway through, he would have been ahead of Lewis. He'd have been at least where Lewis was, maybe ahead of Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, I think it was definitely on for fourth.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was definitely worth someone having a try. I just thought it would have been someone who was in the back half of that after the first runs, rather than someone who
an Ocon or a Ricardo or a Zhou Guanyu or
probably not Zhou Guanyu.
Well, it's risk reward, isn't it? If you think you can finish, you can start third or fourth.
Mm-hmm.
You can only make up 3 places, a maximum of 3 places with that risk. So yeah, it didn't quite work out in my head. That I was very excited by it when it happened, because I thought because just the way he'd been going, I did think to myself, well, if he's done this, everything else he's done today so far has been right. I have to believe that this must be the right thing to do as well. And it was obviously not, but I'm just confused. You know, it's chance of starting on pole, guaranteed pretty much fourth position or starting eighth. You know, not ideal.
Hard one to tell. Well, we've got a week off coming this week after a double header. So a free weekend. I think I may be spending it on iRacing again as part of a team doing the 24 hours of Don't Laugh Barcelona.
What? As in the Circuit de Catalunya?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, 24
Fucking hell,
hour
that
endurance
sounds dull.
race around there.
Hmm.
We're trying to put a team together at the moment, so I'll keep everyone updated on the progress on there through the socials, which of course as always is at 3 Legs 4 Wheels, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to get in touch through ye olde email, it's 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, and individually we are on Twitter
At Sean Cowper.
Flood 21.
At a total shunt.
and at Pablo100. I was going to say nominations. Predictions are open for the British Grand Prix in 2 weeks. Just go to 3legs4wheels.com and go to the games section there, and don't forget to check us out on Discord as well, because there's always some kind of bizarre tangenty chat going on all across the board. Right, hopefully, COVID permitting, we'll be going outside, and we'll also be back this time next week with a preview of the British Grand Prix and, fingers crossed, jet lag depending, virtual Statman.
Oh.
Okay.
Because we're having a chat at the weekend. It's like it's been too long. Come back on. How about next week? And it's like, well, he's due to arrive in the UK that day for the British Grand Prix. So if he's not jet lagged to buggery, we'll have him as a guest next week.
Get him on if he's jet lagged to buggery. What's the worst that can happen?
He falls asleep mid-pod.
We've all done that before. Right, we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.